So it's lonely at the gaming table tonight. I was only able to get one friend to show up. So we played Catan, and we did the two-player version of Catan. So this is the official two-player rules that are found in the Traders and Barbarians expansion. And we also threw in Cities and Knights just because we always play Cities and Knights. So what's different with the two-player rules is we have two neutral players. So all the stuff that you see in red and all the white stuff are actually neutral players that weren't here. So every time we build a road or a settlement, one of the neutral players also gets a road or a settlement. So otherwise, if it was just two humans, we each have our own corner of the island, we'd be spreading out and sprawling out, not really interacting with each other. So what this did was give a really good way, and it was really effective, of being able to block your opponent and still build your own stuff at the same time. So it really recreated that same tension that's in a normal Catan game of the competition and race for those really good spots and cutting off your opponent and laughing in his face at his downfall. So I thought the neutral players worked really well. There's also trade tokens. You can use these to send the robber back to the desert, or you can pay these back to the bank to do a forced trade, where I give my opponent any two cards and I take two of his at random. So it kind of forces the trading element. So Joel, what do you think of the two-player game in general?
I think it was a lot of fun. It was a good opportunity to just play Catan. It's been a long time since I played, so just to try it again, even with the two of us, and really enjoyed just some of the dynamics of the competition. So, yeah.
So I never ended up using any of my trade tokens, or I used them maybe once. What do you think of the trade tokens in the force trade?
I think the trade tokens were just interesting to add. The force trade really didn't mimic the same feel as trading with 3 or 4 players back and forth in that tension, and so it still enabled me to kind of gamble for some cards of Chris's, but it was most valuable, I think, to move the robber back to the desert. That was a bigger help when I played it. So yeah.
So would you say this is just as good as playing 3 or 4 players, or maybe not quite?
I think it's not quite as good as 3 or 4 players, because you really have a lot of people talking back and forth and trading and bargaining and that whole element that you have with more than 2 people.
Yeah, I agree. So it's still good, but the level of interaction just still wasn't up there. But it's certainly very playable. So it's been a long time since you played Catan. Is there anything you would have done differently now that you see how it came out?
Yeah, I think one thing I would have done, instead of trying to monopolize a resource here with the ore, I probably would have went for some higher value resources, or went for some more trading ports that allow you 2-to-1 like Chris had. So which would have enabled me to do some more trading, because once you get up with a lot of high values, you can trade them pretty quickly for anything you want. So I think that's one of the ideas for next time I play.
So bottom line is, if you're a lonely guy and you can only have one friend show up and you really want to play Catan, Catan is now playable 2 players thanks to these rules, whereas otherwise Catan is simply unplayable if you don't use these special rules at all. So if you're desperate to play Catan and you got 2 people, and guess what? You can actually have fun with Catan too now.